You were never meant to struggle for what is already yours. The truth is simple, but the world has made it complicated. They have taught you to chase, to beg, to wait. But reality is not built from effort. It is built from assumption. You do not need to become a better version of yourself to manifest what you desire. You only need to change the position from which you think. That which you desire already exists. The moment you became aware of it, it was born. But you see, most people approach this backwards. They try to manifest from a place of emptiness, from lack, from noticing that what they want is not yet here. So they push. They visualize with tension. They affirm with fear. They work with one eye on the clock, wondering when the world will finally change. That is not creation, that is resistance. Manifestation is not something you do. It is something you allow. It is something you assume. It is the silent knowing that what you imagine with feeling must come to pass. To imagine is to plant. To feel it real is to water the seed. And to rest in faith is to let the harvest come. Your senses may scream that nothing is happening, but the unseen world always moves before the seen. You must dare to see differently. Close your eyes and forget the facts. Forget what the world has told you. Go within and see the scene clearly. See yourself already in possession of it. Don't try to get it. Don't hope. Don't wish. Become. Feel the joy of it. Feel the relief. Walk in it. Live from it. Let the inner scene be more vivid than the outer one. You're not doing it wrong because you're unworthy. You're doing it wrong because you think you need to earn what already belongs to you. You don't climb a mountain to manifest. You step into the state of the wish fulfilled. And from that state, the world will rearrange. People, events, timing, circumstances, they will move without your effort. Let go out of the trying. Rest in the knowing. Manifesting is not hard. Your approach is just wrong. Shift it, and everything changes. You are always manifesting, whether you know it or not. This is not a practice you occasionally engage in, nor is it something reserved for certain rituals or special times of focus. Manifestation is not an activity. It is the very nature of your being. It is the continuous outpicturing of your inner world. The life you are living right now, this very moment, is the result of what you have accepted to be true, consciously or unconsciously. Every thought you consistently dwell upon, every emotion you entertain, every belief you silently carry, they all shape the form your life takes. You cannot turn it off. Just as a fire gives off heat, your consciousness gives off form. So many believe that manifesting is something they must learn how to do. They read books, they follow steps, they repeat words. And while these things can be helpful, they miss the most vital truth. You are already doing it. The only question is, what are you manifesting? There is no pause in this process. Life mirrors back to you not what you want, but what you assume, what you expect, and most powerfully, what you accept without question. You can only receive from life what you are in harmony with internally. And this harmony is not something you force through effort. It is something you allow by the direction of your attention. Where your attention goes, energy flows. Where your imagination dwells, the world follows. The truth is, every moment of your day is a declaration of your inner state. When you look at your bank account and feel worry, you are not observing reality, you are recreating it. When you look in a mirror and feel unworthy, You are not simply having a thought. You are sealing a command into your subconscious, and that command must be fulfilled. When you assume that people don't see your value, that love is hard to find, that success is reserved for others, those are not idle opinions. They are seeds, and they bear fruit. This is not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Because if your life is not where you want it to be, it is not because you are unlucky. It is not because you are cursed. It is not because your past is too heavy. It is because in some area of your life, you have been misusing your power unconsciously. The most beautiful part of this truth is that once you become aware, you can begin to choose differently. You can begin to plant new seeds. You are never stuck. You are never at the mercy of the world. The world is responding to you. Your outer world is simply a canvas painted by your inner state. Change that, and the picture must change. Not through effort, not through struggle, through alignment. The world wants you to believe that circumstances create your state. But the reverse is true. Your state creates your circumstances. You have seen it before. When you feel confident, things open up. When you feel loved, people are drawn to you. When you feel abundant, opportunities flow. This is not coincidence. This is the law. So, you must become aware of what you are broadcasting. Watch your thoughts. Not to fear them, but to understand your patterns. Notice the stories you tell yourself. Are they stories of power or of limitation? Do they affirm your wholeness, or do they keep you bound to the past? Begin to choose differently, not by force, but by intention. Rest in the awareness that you are the operant power. You are the author, not the victim. You are not here to chase what you want. You are here to embody it. And once embodied, it must come, not because you forced it, but because that is how reality works. You are always manifesting. Now it's time to do it on purpose. Desire is not something to be doubted, questioned, or suppressed. It is not a mistake, nor is it a product of your imagination running wild. Desire is a divine signal, a whisper from within that reveals to you what already exists for you in the unseen. The presence of the desire itself is evidence of its reality. You would not long for something that wasn't already yours in potential. The very fact that it appeared in your heart means it is within your reach. You are not chasing fantasies. You are being guided toward fulfillment. Most people have been taught to look at their desires with suspicion. They are told to be realistic, to manage expectations, to not get their hopes up. But what they do not realize is that in pushing away their desires, they are pushing away the very thing that would complete their joy. You do not receive desires from nowhere. They are not random. They are the soul's recognition of a future reality trying to reach you. They are not meant to torment you. They are meant to guide you back to who you truly are. When you feel a true desire, a pull, a longing, a vision that will not leave you, it is not something to be dismissed. It is something to be honored. That desire is life itself moving through you, asking you to awaken to your creative power. You may not know how it will come. You may not see the path, but the path is not your concern. The desire is the signpost, not the destination. Your only task is to accept it, to assume it as already yours, to dwell in the feeling that it is done. The moment you felt the longing, the bridge began to build. It is not about waiting for something outside to change. It is about changing your inner stance, your assumptions, your expectations, your reactions. When you can feel the desire as already fulfilled, when you can claim it mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. The world has no choice but to reflect it. You are not here to hope for your desires. You are here to embody them. The world may not see it yet. Your senses may deny it. But that is irrelevant. Reality always catches up with conviction. What you believe and feel on the inside will materialize on the outside. That is the law. You were never meant to beg for what you want. You were never meant to plead with life or try to convince the world of your worthiness. You were meant to know, to rest in the quiet confidence that what you desire is already yours by right of consciousness. When you stop treating your desire like a distant dream and begin treating it like a present truth, everything changes. You move differently. You speak differently. You no longer ask if it's possible. You begin to expect its arrival. And that expectancy is the magnet. That expectancy is what rearranges circumstances, people, and events to bring it to you. You do not need to earn your desires. You do not need to prove that you are ready. You only need to accept them as already real. Let go of the how. Let go of the when. These are distractions. Stay with the what. Stay with the feeling. Let the desire live in you fully. Let it be a place you return to in imagination until it becomes your natural dwelling. And from that place, you will see life shift. Desire is sacred. It is the proof of what is already written for you in the invisible. It is not a cruel illusion. It is your inner self pointing toward what you are capable of receiving. If you trust it, if you honor it, and if you believe in its fulfillment, it will come. Not through striving, not through waiting, but through alignment. The desire is the invitation. Your belief is the key. The moment you felt it, it was already yours. Effort and struggle are resistance in disguise. They come dressed as determination, as discipline, as the necessary grind. But beneath them lies a belief that you do not yet have what you seek, that it is separate from you, that it must be earned, chased, or forced into your life. And so many fall into this trap, thinking that the more they do, the harder they work, the faster they move, the closer they'll get. But manifestation does not respond to strain. It responds to inner conviction. It responds to the one who knows that what they desire is already theirs. Trying too hard affirms the very thing you are trying to escape, lack. When you strive with desperation, you are declaring through your actions, I don't have it. Your energy becomes a signal of separation, not of possession. And the universe, ever faithful to reflect your inner state, must echo back the reality of not having. You delay the very thing you want because you are focused on the absence of it. You do not fight for what is already yours, you assume it. You claim it in silence. You wear it in your thoughts. You feel it in your being. It is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is certain. Like breathing, like the rising of the sun, you rest in the knowing. That is true manifestation. It's not about effort. It's about alignment. It's about tuning your inner world to the frequency of already having. When a person knows they are loved, they don't constantly seek proof. They move with confidence. When someone knows they are successful, they don't have to proclaim it to everyone they meet. They carry a quiet power. And when you know your desire is already fulfilled, you stop trying to make it happen. You begin to live from it, not chase it. The mistake most make is in thinking manifestation is about action, about doing more, pushing harder, moving faster. But action without belief is empty. It is noise. True manifestation begins in the mind. It begins in the feeling. Until you can dwell in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, your outer actions are just movements. They are not creation. Let this truth sink in. The state of having must come before the evidence of having. That means you must enter the feeling of abundance before the money arrives. You must embody love before the partner appears. You must dwell in the sense of success before the results show up. This is not fantasy. It is the law of consciousness. The outer mirrors the inner, not the other way around. So when you find yourself exhausted, when you're pushing and forcing and nothing is working, stop. That struggle is not progress, it is resistance. It is a signal that you are out of alignment. Come back to stillness. Come back to the assumption that what you want is already yours. Ask yourself, how would I feel right now if I had it? How would I walk, speak, think, move? Then do that. You must understand, manifestation is not about pulling something in from the outside. It is about awakening what is already within. The wealth, the love, the peace, it all begins inside you. And when you match that internal frequency, the world adjusts to meet it. This is the secret. Not to try harder, but to let go. To relax into the truth of your power. To stop begging and start becoming. You are not meant to struggle for your desires. You are meant to rest in them. The oak tree does not strain to grow. The stars do not force their light to shine. They are what they are. And when you stop resisting, when you stop believing it has to be hard, you will see how naturally the things you want begin to appear, not because you fought for them, but because you finally stopped standing in your own way. Imagination is the only creative force in reality. Everything that has ever been brought into the visible world began first as a thought, a vision, a quiet whisper in the unseen realm of imagination. This is not poetic. It is law. The chair you sit on, the home you live in, the career you walk through, all of it existed first in someone's mind. Imagination is the womb of creation. And what you see within, you will see without. The outer world is not random. It is a delayed mirror reflecting the state of your inner world. Most people walk through life as if the external world is cause and their inner world is effect. They believe circumstances dictate feelings, that reality shapes thought, but it is the other way around. The inner man, the inner you, is the origin of all that is seen. It is not the job that brings you security. It is your inner sense of security that brings the job. It is not love appearing that makes you feel worthy. It is the feeling of worthiness that attracts love. This is how the game is played. The imagination is not just daydreaming. It is not a childish fantasy. It is divine. It is sacred. It is the place where your world is born. What you allow yourself to feel and accept in imagination becomes the blueprint from which your physical world is built. If you dwell in thoughts of fear, of failure, of unworthiness, life has no choice but to reflect those images. But if you dare to dwell in joy, in abundance, in peace, even when your senses say otherwise, you are shifting the foundation of your reality. Do not wait for the world to give you permission to imagine something better. Use your inner vision as the command. When you close your eyes and see yourself living the life you desire, you are not pretending, you are creating. That scene you see in your mind, that feeling that rises in your chest, that certainty you touch for just a moment, that is more real than anything the senses can show you. The senses only report the past, but imagination creates the future. When you persist in an imagined scene, when you return to it over and over again, not with desperation, but with confidence, You begin to impress it upon your subconscious mind. And the subconscious, being the servant it is, begins to move people, events, and circumstances to match that vision. You do not have to force it. You do not have to know how. The how is not your job. Your job is to see it, to feel it, to assume it, and the rest unfold. The outer world always lags behind the inner world. It is not instant, but it is inevitable. A seed planted does not bloom the same day, but the bloom is already contained in the seed. So it is with your imagination. That inner scene you saw, of peace, of love, of wealth, is already planted. The question is, will you nurture it? Will you persist in it? Will you live in the assumption that it is already true? You do not need to tell others what you are imagining. You do not need to seek their validation. This is a private, sacred journey. What you dare to accept in imagination will appear in time. And when it does, it will feel natural, inevitable, as if it could not have happened any other way. Because in truth, it was always happening. The moment you imagined it, it began. Imagination is the key to all transformation. Change the concept of yourself and the world must change around you. See yourself differently and life bends to meet that version. Do not fight the outer. Ignore it if it contradicts your vision. Turn inward. That is where the power is. What you see in imagination, what you truly accept as real, you will see in the world. Not because you forced it, but because you believed it. That is creation. That is reality. Motion charges the scene. Feel it real. You must understand, it is not enough to simply see something in the mind's eye. To imagine a better life, a new version of self, or a different outcome, without feeling is like drawing without ink. It carries no power, no movement. The secret lies in the emotion you bring to the scene, the energy with which you enter it. For it is feeling, not thought alone, that impresses the subconscious mind and turns imagination into experience. When you imagine, you are not merely playing with images. You are speaking the language of creation. But the subconscious does not respond to empty words. It does not respond to logic or willpower. It responds to feeling. That deep inner knowing, that rich, invisible sensation that something is already true. You must feel it real. Not because you are trying to force the world to change, but because you are aligning with a version of yourself where it already has changed. Imagine for a moment a scene where your desire is already fulfilled. You are not hoping it will happen. You are living it. You are standing in the room or walking through the place or holding the hand of the person you've longed for. What do you feel in that moment? What does your body say? What does your heart whisper? That feeling, that inner movement is the key. The feeling brings it to life. Emotion gives the scene weight. It gives it depth. You're no longer an observer. You are now a participant. You're no longer watching the scene. You are in it, breathing its air, carrying its joy. And that's when the subconscious receives it as truth. Not as a wish, not as a fantasy, but as something real. And because the subconscious knows no difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined with feeling, it sets in motion the unseen mechanics of manifestation. You must dwell in the mood of the wish fulfilled, not once, not twice, but consistently. Belief is built through repetition of that inner feeling. When you return to it night after night or in quiet moments of the day, you are reconditioning your inner world. You are rewriting the story you've told about yourself. And eventually you no longer need to convince yourself. It becomes natural. The assumption settles. You begin to live from it. And that is when the world must reflect it. It cannot do otherwise. The world is a mirror, not a master. It does not dictate. you do, that you must speak in its language, and that language is feeling, not frantic emotion, not desperation, but deep, calm, powerful inner knowing. A trust that says, this is mine. Even when the outer contradicts, even when the evidence is not yet visible, you feel it real, because you know the outer is just a shadow of the inner. This is not pretending. This is not self-delusion. It is alignment. You are choosing to live from the truth of your desire instead of the illusion of its absence. You are stepping into the version of you who already has, already is, already knows. And the longer you live in that feeling, the more it becomes your home. The more naturally you speak from it, walk in it, and make decisions from it. Motion is the fire. It is the current that moves the vision from mind to matter. So let the scene stir something in you. Let it bring you peace, or joy, or satisfaction. Whatever would be natural in that fulfilled state. And hold it. Not with effort, but with presence. Let it soak into your being. Because once the feeling takes root, the world has no choice. It must rearrange itself to reflect that inner truth. That is the law, and that is the power you've always had. Not to struggle for change, but to feel it into existence. You must move mentally, not physically. The mistake most make is to believe that action alone changes life. That if they push harder, run faster, work longer, they can force life into submission. But the true shift never begins with action. It begins in the mind. All transformation, all elevation, all true manifestation starts not with physical effort, but with mental movement. You must go there in consciousness before your feet ever touch the ground. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen or when it will unfold. Instead, focus on the most important step, the internal shift. The moment you begin to think from the place where your desire is fulfilled, you set the wheels of creation into motion. It is not about thinking of the desire. That leaves it distant, separate, out of reach. You must think from the place where it is already so. That is the secret. That is the shift. To walk mentally in the scene where your desire is already yours is to align with the reality you wish to live. If you desire wealth, do not merely wish for it. Mentally move into the state of the one who already has it. How do they walk? How do they speak? What decisions do they make? What worries no longer burden them? Begin to think from that identity, and the world will conform. It may not happen instantly, for the world of matter is slow, but it is obedient. It must take the shape of your sustained inner assumption. When you persist in mentally living from the place of your fulfilled desire, the outer world becomes compelled to catch up. Circumstances bend, people align, events unfold, not because you forced them, but because you shifted your position in consciousness. This movement is silent, invisible. No one sees it happening, but within you feel it. Something clicks, something changes. You are no longer chasing, you are dwelling. You no longer ask if it will come, you assume it already has. That shift in attitude is power. That shift is creation. You may be standing in the same room, speaking to the same people, working the same job, but internally you are in a new place. You have moved. And because you have moved mentally, you will soon move physically. Not through force, but through alignment, the right opportunities, the right timing, the right doors. These will appear naturally, almost effortlessly, because you are no longer resisting your own vision. Many struggle because they act without alignment, They try to rearrange the outside while carrying the same beliefs, the same fears, the same old story within. And nothing changes. But when you change your inner position, when you assume the state of the fulfilled desire, your action becomes inspired, guided, and effective. You no longer act to get, you act because you already are, and that makes all the difference. This is not about pretending. It is not about fooling yourself. It is about choosing where you dwell mentally. Every day, every moment, you are occupying a state. You are thinking from somewhere. Make sure that place is aligned with what you want, not with what you fear, because the state you occupy, whether by habit or by choice, determines the life you live. So move, but move in the mind first. Move in imagination. Walk the halls of the home you desire. Hear the voice of the love you already have. Feel the weight of success resting comfortably on your shoulders. Let that be your dwelling place. Let that be your new address. And persist there, for the outer world is not your master. It is your mirror. It does not lead. It follows. So lead it with your inner world. Think from the end, and the end will come. Move mentally, and the physical world will rise to meet you. Always. In conclusion, the power to transform your life lies not in the external actions you take, but in the internal shifts you make. The world you experience is merely a reflection of your inner world, and your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions shape that world more than any physical effort could. When you move mentally, when you dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, you align with the natural flow of creation, and the outer world must adjust accordingly. Remember, manifestation is not about struggle or striving. It is about assuming, feeling, and living from the reality you desire. The key is to think from the place of fulfillment, to feel it real, and to persist in that assumption until it becomes your natural state. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and may you embrace the power within you to create the life you desire.